dawin de go yi juma. Yeah. Kinu ma. Yeah, the guy didn't know.
You got 2 years?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Ta-da!
Very similar.
Mm-hmm. Hey, monkey.
Oh, yeah.
Growing up, it was like a community all over me, learning different things. Cooking, hunting, foraging, fishing. Just learning constantly about our Anishinaabe way of life. I didn't realize it as a kid, but the work that we did creating maple syrup was such a magical thing. But to me as a kid, it was just work. But now when I do it, I'm like, guys, I guess the word is brilliant. So it's beautiful, and that's how I feel with everything about what I learned. You go out there, you tap the tree, you put your spout in, and then you hang your pots, put the cover on, and then you do that about 100 to 200 more times. And you have to make sure you tap a maple, and because I've only been doing it 10 years, I'm standing there sometimes staring at 5 minutes at a tree just to make sure it's a maple, because you don't want to just tap any tree,
That's usually a sign of sugar bush being over anyways. When you start seeing crazy critters like that. Seen a snake the other day. Almost stepped on it. Yep, sugar bush is over.
I use maple syrup for everything. I use it for my cooking, I use it to trade, I use it as congratulations, here's some syrup for any occasion. So yeah, I don't know, maple syrup is life, man. Got lost for a while, drugs, alcohol. I got to a certain age where I needed to change my way of living and to just concentrate more on who am I as an Anishinaabe, trying to follow the 7 grandfather teachings, which is love, respect, bravery, truth, honesty, humility, and wisdom. but they're as easy as they sound. It's really hard to practice. Business, full-time job, kids, and just trying to do everything in between. It just became this crazy catering business where I'm serving up to 1,500 people. That aspect in my life, it was tough work. Mind you, I had the best fun. It was fun. I got to hang out with all these cool women, because my catering business, that was a form of giving back, but also sustaining myself. I gave it my all. I gave it my heart, my soul. But then that leaves you a little bit for yourself, because your cup is empty. I got to a point after I retired the business, I stopped, and then that's when I realized that I was on a friggin' borderline of burnout. I wasn't in love with cooking anymore. I was just didn't want to do anything, but doing hides kind of helped me with that. Doing the hides is something just for myself, and I needed that. Everything you need to tan a moose hide is in that animal. The brain is used to soften the hide. You got the bones to scrape the fur and the meat off of it. It's just, it all comes together. As I was doing hides, I feel the muscle memory from my ancestors were just coming through, and I knew what I was looking for, and I knew what I was doing, even though it's my first time. I have my dad and my mentors teaching me, but it's just as I was doing it, I was just there's something kind of coming through, and what was happening to me was empowering me. It was healing me in ways I didn't think I would heal. Spiritually, you're so connected. Because when you take a life, or when the animal loses its life, you want to honor it, bring something that's dead and also create life with it. I worked on my hides, but I have no one else to be taking care of me, so I would come in and I would prepare myself a little lunch. And one of the roadkills that we were fortunate to have this winter was lynx. Was still whole, and that was pretty cool because I don't trap, so I don't have the opportunity to go out and get lynx. And yes, I do hunt, I do fish, but if it's available there, why not? Cooking to support your family is very different from just cooking for fun. There's a difference. Mind you, there's still love in it. It's just different kinds of love now. And I've found myself kind of cooking this, cooking that. Oh, let's see in the fridge. Oh yeah, playing around with the ingredients. I found myself doing that again, where I'm having fun. Doing that, falling back in love with that. Hiatus, my love, Kitigan. The world is different from 100 years ago only. It's a lot of waste out there, and I guess that's why it's just food sovereignty for me. That's what I think the Western society need to learn more. Just educating yourself, educating yourself of who are these people of the first lands of the people. How can I learn, because they've been here many generations, and then when the settlers came in, it just they overuse the resources, so it's just about the sovereignty of our land, basically. How can we help Mother Earth help us? The message that I pass on to my kids is remember who you are, remember where you came from, in order to be able to navigate what's in front of you. Use the experiences you have there. Bring in those two cultures, or any cultures together, whether it's 2 or 3 cultures, it's just you're celebrating that culture, celebrate who you are, but you know, the celebration on a plate. Feasting with family is so great because basically like you're eating the celebration of, you know, happiness.